When you live an hour and a half away from your job and you spend 3 hours a day commuting or its equivalent, what are you really valuing? Are you valuing your life? Are you valuing the money you're making? Are you valuing this house that you only sleep in, that you don't really have time to enjoy? So the question is, what are you really trying to accomplish? And the advice I give goes in two directions. One is find a community that you can afford to live in. Find a community that speaks to your soul. In other words, some people really love to live in a small town where they know their neighbors and go to the 4th of July parades. Other people like to live near an urban center where there's theater and sports and stimulation and wild cultural diversity. Well, what speaks to your soul? Now, if you can't afford to buy a home where you really want to live, my advice is consider renting a house that some rich person is paying for but doesn't have time to live in. It's either their second home or one of their multiple homes. There's so many boomers out there that have bought second homes that they visit once a year. They're usually in beautiful places like mountains or the beach, and they're hoping that once they're old enough, tired enough, they can live their dream life that they've worked their whole life to get to. And my advice to Gen 21ers is, why don't you live their life right now? What you can rent today is so much more affordable in terms of the luxury and the location than the cost of the mortgage, the insurance, the upkeep, and so forth. And then people say, but gosh, you're giving up the appreciation. Well, you can go buy that home in a dirt hill in the desert that nobody wants, that you can afford, and it'll appreciate enough to buy another home 10 years from now that is also in a place you don't really like, because that's already appreciated. And you can live your whole life in places that you really didn't want to live in order to have an investment that may or may not pay off. There's a lot of ways to prepare for retirement besides owning a home. We know this, that over the last 3 years, Americans took $500 million out of their home equity. So their homes were supposed to be their retirement, but they're actually using that money for their retirement to pay off their SUVs or plasma screen TVs right now. So if you have a retirement account, you're much less likely to spend the money that you're putting in there. And if you're wise, you can live the life you want now forever.